Hello there, and welcome to Doctor Who Radio Show. Thank you for joining me, and also make sure if you enjoyed this episode to subscribe. There will be many more, so subscribe now. And that's the way it goes, and this is...
Alright, hello there. Right, David?
Yes, I'm fine. How are you, Stephen?
Yeah, fine.
What did you make of overall the first 3 episodes before we start going into Power 3?
I enjoyed Power of the Daleks. I didn't like the dinosaurs on a spaceship, but I've watched it a few times and I've enjoyed it more now.
Ah, cool.
And A Town Called Mercy was very good. I thought that was excellent. I did.
Speaking of A Town Called Mercy, I discovered something actually the day after the broadcast, which is that the character Jex was actually played by somebody from my local town, Melton. And even gone to the same theatre company, Gasleak Theatre, that I appeared in. I think it was Peter Pan and Han Christiansen I appeared, but that's like 20 years ago.
Alright. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, yes. And I even sort of remembered him. I thought that accent sounded rather familiar, and it was rather posh. And as you know, there's been another one of these iTunes prequels to A Town Called Mercy.
Alright.
And it shows how they prepared one of those super soldiers, like the gunslinger. And I have to say, I thought it was far more interesting than the actual episode itself.
Alright, I haven't seen that.
Well, I presume you've seen the one that was the prequel for Asylum.
Oh yeah, the ponds, yeah.
Oh no, not Pond Life. This was a prequel to the actual episode Asylum, where the Doctor sort of wakes up, or he's talking to some hooded figure who is yet to be revealed. It's not actually, none of these are available to UK viewers. It's actually for iTunes subscribers to what's called a season pass in the US, which is kind of irritating. I don't know, just to me it would make more sense to stick them on the start of the episodes.
Yeah, it'd be better.
Because it seems like sort of cheating, really, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
But the next episode, as every Doctor Who fan should know, whether you've seen spoilers or not, is The Power of 3, featuring Unit and the daughter of Brigadier Lethbridge-Stewart, apparently.
Yes, I read about that this morning. I'm looking forward to watching it. The one I'm looking forward to is the is it Daleks? No, Daleks. Sorry, the Weeping Angels. Take Manhattan, is it? It's called.
Oh, Take Manhattan, yes.
Take Manhattan. Yeah.
Which is a bit curious because I believe that's the second time they would have been on, well, in the story at least, American soil, wouldn't it?
So is Amy and Rory going out in that one?
Yes, but there's big speculation about, is it going to be, them just leaving peacefully or dying or something else?
Yeah, because I've seen a clip of it on YouTube, I think it was. You could see them both going into coffins.
2 coffins?
Yeah, both of them going in coffins.
Were they already in coffins or getting into them?
Yeah, getting into them. Yeah.
Because Power 3, from what I've seen, apart from the unit element, revolves around these mysterious appearance of all these sort of little cube boxes.
Alright.
It's like an invasion, the usual Doctor Who invasion, but the actual precise reason for the invasion is completely, vacant. Doesn't seem to be any purpose to it.
No.
And the story is called Power of Three, isn't it? So that obviously you would presume, whether it actually does, you'd presume it applies to the Doctor or an Amy.
Yeah.
What do you think of the inclusion of Unit, the Brig's daughter?
Yeah, sounds very interesting, yeah. That's all I can say. I'm looking forward to it.
I just wonder whether it's going to be some sort of lead-in to Weeping Angels, take Manhattan. Because in Mercy and the previous episode, Dinosaurs, you saw two unfamiliar outbursts from the Doctor. And that, I don't know about you, but since we know there's the possibility that the Ponds might snuff it, and you have that huge almighty outburst, really, I mean, he quite literally was going to give up Jex by force to the gunsling, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was only Amy pointing out that she saying, what's happened to you, all that time on your own and stuff. So a part of me makes me think that has more relevance, if you like, to what occurs to create the reasons and circumstances of the Pond's departure.
Well, if they leave in Manhattan, the Doctor's going to be on his own until he finds that companion.
Yeah. Yes. Oswin.
Yeah.
The companion who trumped us all by appearing earlier than everyone was led to believe. And we haven't actually heard anything of her since. Have you seen any sort of little hints that might be referring to her, or?
No, just I seen part of the Christmas special being filmed, which was in May.
Do tell. This is exclusive one from someone who lives near, because you actually live in the area where Cardiff Bay, of course, where Torchwood and many other episodes in the last 6-7 years have been recorded.
Yes, I seen photos on the internet about it. It's a lot of people in Victorian clothing, and I went down there the next day, and they were doing a scene by this old monastery. The TARDIS materialised under this hundreds of years old tree, and next to it is a monastery.
Yep.
And he was talking to the companion and some other girl. I've seen her in series 1. It's the I can't think of the name. No, it's where the Doctor and Rose and this other boy go on this planet. Yeah, the long game.
Yes, that's it. You remembered it, Stephen. The long game, the longest game, because that's where Adam gets that sort of implant in his head, didn't he?
Yeah, I can't think of the girl's name. Might be Christine Adams.
Yes, maybe. But they were doing filming.
Yes, they were doing a scene with her by the monastery, and that was it. That's all I seen. I was told to leave the set by one of the crew.
Oh, blimey.
Because we're filming, must have been something secret.
A major plot point.
Yeah.
There weren't any fans or press sort of hanging around, far as you could see.
No. It was pouring down with rain at the time, so they had to have a break from filming, and then they came back and I was asked to leave then.
Oh, blimey. So that's the Christmas special, but I just wonder whether we're going to have any appearances from Oswin or other surprising characters. I'm glad that they're going to make a reference to the dearly departed Brigadier.
Yeah.
But I've seen the trailer, and there's a villain, some sort of villain, whoever that is, I don't know. But this is my idea, everyone, in regards to the boxes that descend upon Earth for no apparent reason, and hence why units are called in, because that's the whole point, isn't it, of unit? Alien appearances or invasions they investigate, as they did in the classic unit family back in the Third Doctor's era. I think these boxes might be the same or similar boxes to the ones from the Doctor's wife, the ones that are Time Lord distress beacons. Because, if you remember, he received one of those in the TARDIS, which led him to the house, and he discovered an entire cabinet of all these different Time Lord voices calling for help, including one that sounded suspiciously like Paul McGann's 8th Doctor. And the similarity to the two boxes is rather striking, although the ones in Power 3 are black boxes and the others were, had sort of symbols. They were whitish boxes. It does seem a bit coincidental that, well, one colour's the complete opposite to the other, but they're both the same shape. And that's precisely what he did in the War Games, which was Patrick Troughton's last story. In that, he created a distress beacon to the Time Lords out of a pack of cards, which helped him defeat the Warlords, but at the same time meant he was put back on trial. Coincidence, do you think, Stephen?
Yeah.
You don't think there's any that I might have noticed something that nobody else had?
No. I have been looking at the first series of with Matt Smith. Somebody has mentioned they've seen a weeping angel in the window of the house, and I have paused it, and there is a weeping angel there.
In which time period?
That's in the 11th hour.
So the Doctor crash lands outside Amy Pond's house in the 11th hour, and possibly either before he arrived or after he arrived, an angel was waiting there from a future, point in their personal, timeline.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, Power 3 is supposed to include several different versions of the Weeping Angels, including the Statue of Liberty being a Weeping Angel.
Yeah, that's a good... didn't think that would become a Weeping Angel.
Well, that whole idea of the Weeping Angels is it's the old sort of horror tradition, really. In the sense that, something lurking in the shadows. Very similar to the Silence, really. The Silence, if you look at them, they make you forget. And if you don't stop blinking, that's how the Weeping Angels get to you. So very similar. But of course they would be, I know from idea point of view, Stephen Moffat created. But is it possible that the Weeping Angels and the Silence are interspecies cousins, perhaps?
It could be, yeah.
Because they both distort time to a certain extent. In the case of the Weeping Angels, they manoeuvre with time to be assassins, as the 10th Doctor said. Hence why blinking is their, trump card. That's when they strike, sending you back in time. And then, of course, the Silence do the opposite. They simply make you forget. So they erase the time that you've known of them. And it is supposed to be their last appearance, the Weeping Angels. So perhaps we're going to hear some, Stephen Moffat creations having perhaps more history than we presumed.
Yeah, he did say that he was bringing new monsters in, and none of the old ones. But he's lied on that. He's brought the Daleks back.
Yeah. I think, and this is what I'm going to say to you, Stephen, and everybody else tuning into this episode of Doctor Who Radio Show. I think that the Power 3 and the Angels Take Manhattan are actually a 2-part story.
Alright, yeah.
I think that at the end of the part 3 there will be a cliffhanger into the Angels Take Manhattan, or some sort of, in the last few minutes twist.
Yeah.
Because it makes perfect sense. Power 3 is the penultimate Pond story. Manhattan is the last one.
Yeah.
So logically, I would think, from a writer's point of view, and from the point of Stephen Moffat's point of view, that there has to be some connection. One will lead into the other. Perhaps one will foreshadow the consequences, and perhaps the Doctor, because of his going out of control, maybe might have more to do with the departure of the Ponds, and not in a happy way either. And here to the far distant future, as we all know, there's going to be some special stories for the 50th anniversary. Mark Gatiss is responsible for a drama that tells the early days of Doctor Who when it was being commissioned and filmed. But I'm looking towards the 50th anniversary, and yet again Stephen, my Mr. Exclusive, had an encounter with Colin Baker which kind of proved what I was a little bit suspicious about in regards to other Doctors such as Peter Davison, McCoy and McGann, in relation to "it's not going to happen, I don't think so." But apparently, according to Steve, Colin Baker let something slip.
Yes, he said, I said to him, "Colin, what about the 50th anniversary? Have you heard nothing? Have you heard nothing of it at all? I know it's in 2 years' time, and how are they gonna, describe me as I'm looking now? What has happened to me? It just wouldn't make sense." And if they pay me £1 million, I will do it.
Ah, yes, I heard that comment. He said something about £1 million he'd do it.
Yeah.
But I got the impression from you when you mentioned it before that he was letting more, come out than perhaps he realised.
He's probably telling lies. He's not. He's keeping it secret,
Ah.
He is going to appear in the 50th anniversary. Why should I tell somebody now? Because it'll spoil it.
Because Peter Davison in one interview said, "Oh, I think I'm a bit too old now." Sir Etta McCoy's been asked about it. I believe he said that they could just use CGI for the first 3 Doctors, and McGann himself has always been quite honest. If he was asked, then he'd be happy to do it. And they've all sort of given answers which I feel means that they have at least been in rudimentary discussions about it, because it's not that long away. It's going to be another year or so, and I would have thought that since they've done the Christmas special already, production wise they're like a year, half a year ahead. I believe you're going to say something about Colin again.
Will he just appear in a documentary about the time he played the Doctor? Is that the only time he's going to make an appearance, just talking about it? Or is he going to do that and appear in the 50th anniversary?
I don't know, but Mark Gatiss, however you say it, has done, as I said, written a drama which is going to be produced for next year about the early years, and I've heard from the BBC they announced Stephen Moffat himself saying they got some very special things planned, because this is half a century milestone, isn't it? So I'm presuming, just like 30 years in the TARDIS 20 years ago, they're going to have a history of documentary, an in-depth one, perhaps interviewing people that don't normally get interviewed, for Doctor Who, because since then, 30 years in the TARDIS, people like Peter Purves, etc., have had more to do with Doctor Who. Peter Purves himself,
because he was in he was in heck of a lot of episodes which the BBC wiped.
Yes, First Doctor episodes.
Yeah.
But for Big Finish, he's done several companion chronicles featuring himself, the First Doctor, and a new companion. And there was a time when him and others, just like Tom Baker, would have refused to even just appear at a convention. And it wasn't that long ago, actually, sometime last year or early this year, that you actually had Tom Baker, Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Loretta McCoy and Paul McGann all on the same stage.
Yeah, I've seen that, the interviews with them. Yeah.
Now, that's another rather coincidental thing, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, if they can get them to agree to appear on stage talking about their times of Doctor Who in front of each other, then that would presume then sorry then logically that would imply that they could be convinced to do other things, like, say, I don't know, a 1 hour, 2 hour movie to celebrate 50 years.
Christopher Eccleston, do you think he'll do it?
Christopher Eccleston, he's really taken the place of Tom Baker when it came to the 5 Doctors. I don't know, he's never ever appeared at any convention or appeared in Big Finish or Audio Go. I mean, nothing, absolutely nothing. I think he's signed a few autographs.
Yeah, a friend of mine has met him, and his son went up to him with a photograph of him as the 9th Doctor, and he signed it to whoever it was, and he put the Doctor.
Blimey. I just subscribed now in one of the original episodes of Doctor Who radio show, did say that he, I think it was like crashed into him or something or whatever, because apparently Christopher Eccleston lives not that far away from him in Manchester or something. So I don't think he's someone who won't have anything to do with fans at all, but I think from a career point of view, he, as he said himself, he considers Doctor Who as a past thing. But perhaps if they ask him properly, or I don't know, perhaps Billy Piper spoke to him on Stephen Moffat's behalf, something like that, he'd agree to appear, or perhaps make a First Doctor type appearance.
Well, they film around here quite a bit, so I'll be keeping my ears open for that.
Blimey, that's a good point, Stephen, because when it comes to the 50th anniversary, that's going to be bloody difficult to prevent people from seeing that. I mean, I'm presuming there's lots of Doctor Who fans who find out where filming is supposed to be happening, or actually live in the areas like yourself. So if you saw, Tom Baker and Peter Davison in the same area, and then you happen to see a lot of film people going around, I don't, the old Dalek antennae, if you like, would get a little bit suspicious.
Yeah, because where Matt Smith was filming this Christmas special, where I seen him filming, I seen David Tennant previous in 2007 doing the Sontaran episode there.
I had a picture of him on the steps of the beautiful big house.
Yeah.
And you got his interview. I've seen that picture. You're standing. He's in his blue coat, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. He was ready for a take. He was running with one of the unit into a car or something,
Blimey. Wow.
And they were the part of the Sontarans, you know, where they're in this room and they just disappear.
Ah, blimey. Oh, yeah.
That was filmed inside the castle itself, like.
Ah. I mean, that must be a blooming thrill when you realise that you're witnessing, perhaps even before the press get the chance, all the Doctor Who spoiler websites, you're actually seeing it firsthand as they're filming it. I bet you can't always... Have you always sort of had an idea of what they were actually filming?
No. I seen them doing a few scenes, and most of the scenes were indoors inside the castle. You can't get past the security there. Blimey.
But that's kind of the problem, though. You know, when it comes close, think. Well, if they're going to broadcast the 50th anniversary story in November, nearly a year from now, then I'm presuming they'd start filming it at least July or something. And if they got several Doctors in a scene, or just two, or two past Doctors and some old companions, whatever combination your fantasy swap shop wants to come up with, the amount of difficulty filming it is going to be extraordinary. I mean, first you have to get the people to agree. The logistics of getting over all the egos, just like in the Dark Dimension. That's one big problem with Dark Dimension. That's the 30th anniversary special that was supposed to be screened. Would be difficult. You're just getting them to agree to a script that they felt gave them proper amount of time, etc. And then trying to film the little blooming bugger when you know full well that as soon as word gets out, there's going to be tons of press and fans who might actually spoil the whole thing by revealing it.
Well, there's something fans didn't know. Remember Silence in the Library?
Yeah.
Was actually filmed in a library.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
It was an old reference library, which was closed that year. So they used it as a set for Silence in the Library. Which is what they probably say to people when they're talking too loudly. Silence in the library, please. Anyway, that's all we have time for now in Doctor Who radio show. So far in this story we've given our views on the past 3 episodes and also our views on the future, Power 3 and Angels Take Manhattan, and also exclusive from Stephen Price, who is someone who's actually seen Doctor Who filmed, including the future Christmas special, and from the sound of it, a rather important hush 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 scene. So until next time, that's the way it goes. Yep, thank you, David.
And goodbye, everyone.
Bye.